So good afternoon. My name's Jonathan Weems and I'm from X Solutions. We're back today for another episode of Business Insights, and I'm joined by Simon from iThink 365. How you doing, Simon?
Hi, Jonathan. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. Thanks for inviting me on to your show.
Great, awesome. And so what's it that you do there? I think 365. Sorry about that.
So I think 365, we specialize in Microsoft 365. What mean by that is we help businesses leverage the platform, understand what it can do, how it can improve their business, make their business more successful. And we do that. It's sort of we have a people-centric approach, but it's around improving business process, improving, using things like AI, connecting people together to one another, connecting people to the business, creating this concept of engaged employees.
All
And
right. Okay.
but it's all around the Microsoft 365 sort of platform, and other technology like Power Platform, SharePoint, Teams, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I mean, from a small business perspective, obviously I use
Yeah.
Office 365. So is that related?
Yeah, so good old Microsoft, lots of different names, but yeah, Office 365 is the old name, and they've now changed it to Microsoft 365. So I suppose Office 365 was more around the services, and then they brought Windows and Windows Intune and some of the kind of the infrastructure pieces, and that became Microsoft 365. So bringing all of those things together. So yeah, it's an incredibly powerful suite, and it is
Right.
huge.
Okay, because you mentioned about like business processes, but you mentioned about connecting people. So
Mm,
from my aspect, it's like a piece of software. I use it to um, maybe add employees, add access to 365 teams and stuff like that.
yeah,
So where do you go beyond in connecting people?
yeah. So so fundamentally, every business it has sort of things that it needs to be relatively good at. So we call them competencies. But really good. Being good at communication is important, especially as your business grows. Keeping people up to date with what's going on, strategy, where the business is heading, what there's the latest news, what sales wins you've had, what's going on in the different areas of the business. And so we use Microsoft 365 and SharePoint, and we help organizations by delivering an intranet on top of that, and it allows them to communicate with the entire workforce. And that, some organizations, they're not just people sat in office, they've got people who may be working in shops and retail or hotel reception, for hospitality, and we call those frontline workers. And a lot of the challenge has been, how do you connect to everybody to keep them up to date with what's going on and keep them kind of driven and understand the purpose of the business so that they can help drive that. And those people who do that, they become empowered, they become engaged employees. Companies with more engaged employees, more profitable, they're happier, their mental well-being, their well-being is better. So there's benefits to the business, but also then the people within the business too.
Cool. Okay. Um, so it's everything really. It's basically bringing, um, it's going beyond. Obviously you mentioned intranet there as well. So
Mm,
as an employee, I've used these things to basically find out what's going on with the company with different departments and things like that. They might want to there, but obviously as well, it integrates with Teams. I
yes,
assume, um,
yes.
and then then that integrates with Word and when you want to make virtual calls and stuff like that. So yeah, yes, that's great. So how does the AI aspect come into it?
Yeah, so at the moment, Microsoft have had a big push around this thing called Copilot, Microsoft Copilot. There's various Copilots, and there's Copilots for different products in the Microsoft 365 platform. So you've got them for Copilot in Word and Outlook and Teams, but all the different products. The AI aspect of it, there's probably Microsoft 365 Copilot, say for Word, is about helping you get started on creating that document, helping you kind of create a structure So we use it a lot for case studies. So we might say, right, I'm creating a case study for a software we've built for, I don't know, a fiber manufacturer or something like that. Here's, and you sort of describe some of the benefits and and what you're wanting it to do, and then it will scaffold out some content and give you that structure. And it means that, I can take a case study and create a case study in 10, 15 minutes rather than maybe 45 minutes. So it's a productivity saver, but also
Yeah.
its English will be often better than mine too. There's that aspect of it. So there's productivity benefits too. Being able to get intelligence and knowledge out of the system. So within Microsoft 365 Copilot, you've got something called BizChat. BizChat allows you to it understands, or it's grounded. So what that means is the AI has understanding of your emails, the conversations you're having, the people you chat to most often, and it builds something called a search index, a semantic index, which is very tailored to you. So you can start asking questions like, "What are the top 3 emails I need to respond to today? Which meetings have I been in? I missed that meeting yesterday. Can you give me a summarization of what happened in that meeting? Are there any actions that have been assigned to me?" So rather than you having to go into that meeting, you can use Copilot to reach into these different pockets and pull that information back to you. So it's really, really powerful. I use it a lot every day, and that's
Yeah.
half the battle. Is changing your routine so you start using the tool because as you start to use it, you start to see how it benefits you.
Okay.
But
I
it's
mean,
getting that.
obviously that all sounds very useful. But what I mean, do I have to be a big company to take advantage of these sorts of things?
No, no. So I mean, different size organizations can have different challenges. Where we see AI being used sort of a lot is two areas at the moment. One is being able to get knowledge out of a large corpus of information, and that's very much dependent on your organization. But if you are an organization which has got a lot of policies and procedures, you're probably going to be a little bit bigger, but you'll be able to sort of give Copilot access to those documents, and then you'll be able to ask it questions in a natural language, and it'll give you back natural language responses
Yeah.
using the information. The other side of it as well, and this can be any organization, really, any size organization, like is email, managing email. So we see organizations where they might have customer services, customer support, and they're using AI to categorize and triage email and say, right, we're getting this email coming through, like work out what the category is and then which team or person looks after that and automatically moving it to them, giving it to them so that you don't have someone having to constantly keep an eye on the support desk. The AI is helping get it to the right person.
Yeah.
And it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. We're seeing sort of 70, 80% success in first time responses with it.
Okay, so for example, obviously, previously I was a software developer, now like I'm a software architect and things like
Mm,
that. Say, for instance, I was working on something, and my company had an overall policy for GDPR and things like that. But I didn't know
yeah.
what it was. I didn't know where it was. Would it aid me in making sure that I'm following those?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you might sort of say, what are the things I really need to be aware of the company corporate policy around GDPR, and it will use the content of that document, and it will apply the LLM, the AI will, sort of apply its own knowledge as well, so that it's training with that content to give you a response. And you can do things like you can sort of, ask it a question, but if it doesn't give it back in the way that you'd like, you might say, "Give me 10 bullet points, explaining the key things I need to be aware of with that GDPR policy," and it will then summarize that and give you those 10 points. So, yeah, it is very useful. The models are getting better. So recently we had wave two of Microsoft 365 Copilot. It used to be called Copilot for Microsoft 365. They had a name change.
Hmm.
That introduced the latest iteration. Well, I say the latest but one iteration of GPT, which is GPT 4.0. Since then, there's been another one out. But that has improved the kind of responses you're getting back from Copilot. And it's not perfect. It isn't. You do have to look at what it's coming back to you with and going, does that sound right? There is a bit of, we still need to be analysing the responses back, not just taking them verbatim that they're right.
Okay. Um, all right. So bearing in mind, obviously, the audience that I have, small
Yes.
businesses, medium businesses, and things like
Yeah.
that. What is your top tip for business?
So for me, so I own a business as well. The things that I want to have is a dashboard of the key metrics around my business. So they currently are, net profit margin, gross profit margin, number of leads, uh, number converted, conversion rate, and then average cost per customer.
Yeah.
And I, and I want to bring those all into one place. So
Yeah.
using something like, it doesn't have to be something like Power BI. Power BI is a reporting dashboard tool. Could be Excel. It could be Tableau. It could be any reporting tool. But having that dashboard is so important, just so you've got the metrics and you understand the pulse, what's going on in your business. That's my top tip.
Yeah. So around like executive reporting, reporting on your sales pipelines and your, obviously you mentioned cost per customer and things like that. Yeah. I mean, that's a very useful tip. And previously, from my previous call on Business Insights,
Yeah.
I ask a question of
Okay.
what do you want to ask the next person on here?
Oh,
And the
right. Okay.
question
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
got is, what is the value you're adding day to day for your customers?
Um, so I guess Yvonne is our head of growth, and she would say that before she started with iThink 365, she had no idea what Microsoft 365 could do. And that's what we're about. We're about educating what often organizations are already paying for something. They just didn't know that it existed. And so that's what we're doing. We're helping educate, and also then giving people, a way to go on a journey so that their business can be successful, using Microsoft 365 and benefit from it. And that's our value we're adding. So
Okay, so
knowledge.
like basically ongoing education, and then they would reach a certain stage of that education where they'll be able to apply it to their journey to increase
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
revenue,
yeah,
etc. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, we another area we talked about communication earlier. The other one is collaboration, just being able to work better with whether it's your customers, other suppliers as well. So, you mentioned Microsoft Teams earlier, but often people use Teams just purely for video calling, and
yeah,
that's it. But really, Teams is about bringing everything into one place. So you can bring the internet into Teams, you can bring business processes. Um, we run our projects through Teams, so all our meetings are recorded. If a customer misses a call or one of the members of the team misses a call, they're able to recap and catch up. They can watch the recording, and it's those improving those collaboration. And often people have no idea that that's available, and they just need a bit of help to understand how to structure it and what some best practices are, and that's what we do to
great.
help.
Okay, and in the same vein, what question would you like me to ask my next guest?
So the classic one is going back to your 18-year-old self. What would you tell them? What would be the things that you would tell them?
Okay, all right, that's quite interesting. Okay, well, I look forward to asking that one. And
Cool.
lastly, if someone would want to get in contact with you, what would be the best way?
So have a look on our website, www.ithink365.co.uk, or look up Simon Doy on LinkedIn. And yeah, I'd love to have a chat with you. Um, and even if it's just you just want to bounce some ideas. I love chatting with people like yourself, Jonathan. We bounce ideas off one another, and that's great. It's great just to help
Awesome.
out.
Great. Well,
Excellent.
thank you, Simon, for joining me. A lot of useful information in now, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. And thank you for having us on your show. It's been really, really fun.
Cheers.
Take care.